guys, good morning, happy Sunday. I'm going to show you today how to make these beautiful wire wrapped bracelets. We're going to be using some wire, soft gauge wire, so a 0.8mm and a 1mm thickness of your wire. And I'm going to be using some of our beautiful semi-precious beads. So you'll be able to make your own wire wrapped bangle, hopefully to match some of the rings that we were making a few weeks ago as well. We've got some lovely offers, which I will show you. Some of our semi-precious beads are on offer, and I'm also going to show you how to make your own clasp. So even if you don't want to do a wire wrap bangle, I'm going to make our own connector clasp out of the wire that we're going to be using. So I haven't seen you all for a few days. Hi Helen, morning Edward, Michelle, Brenda, Elaine, hi Leanne, Dee, Marcia, lots of you already. You've had Kitty for quite a few days. I was really busy with TV shows last week, so I wasn't able to even watch some of the videos. I caught up yesterday and was answering some of your questions. Morning Sarah, you're looking very posh today. Thanks Carol. To be honest, I just dry shampooed my hair and stuck it up. But hello. I'm on telly tomorrow, so I've got to sort it all out later. I couldn't be bothered yet this morning. Good morning, Paula. Hi, Margaret. You guys are always so nice. You make me feel so lovely. Good morning, Ian. Hi, Leanne. Good morning. This one's right up my street, Leanne. Gemstones, yes. So if you haven't worked with wire yet, I promise it's not as difficult as you may think. So as you know, we like to get rid of some of those worries that you might have. You can see how easy it is. It's probably won't even take us half an hour to make. I'm gonna chat away to you all as well. Good morning, Sandy from Massachusetts. Hi, good morning. Oh, we've got people across the water today as well. Lovely. Hi, Leanne. Morning, Sarah, Kitty, and all our clan. It really is, isn't it? Our little morning beading crew. Good morning, Pamela. Hi, Bernie, Anne. Lovely. So I'm going to get started because I've got quite a few of you. And if you've got any questions, let me know, because I'd like to answer as many of them as I can while we're going. Sarah, your hair will be... you'll be able to sit on your hair before too long. I know, it's getting really, really long. Question, how difficult is wire wrapping? Should I be scared? Not at all, Leanne. I'm going to show you. It's super simple this morning. Hi, morning, June. Very windy in the northeast. Oh, we're actually going to go to the beach after this. We're going to take the dogs up to the beach. Jan from Weston-super-Mare. Hi, Jan. I used to live there. I lived in Weston-super-Mare for about, I don't know, 6 years. Sandy says, wire scares me. Don't be scared, Sandy. I'm going to prove that you don't need to be scared today. Morning, Adelina. Hi, Doris. Morning, Kitty behind the scene. Yes, Kitty will be on here somewhere as well. Okay, so don't be scared of wire. I understand that it's probably a medium that maybe not many of you have worked in before. Kitty doesn't do too much wire work, so since I've come along, I've found all these beads and all this wire, and I've thought, right, I know exactly what to do with all of these. So this is what we're going to be doing. Now, a few weeks back, we were doing some rings. I was using a really soft gauge wire, and remember I said if you start off with a softer wire, then it's going to get you used to working with the medium, and you will start to... Jan. Sue, good morning. Hi, Chris. It's going to get you used to working with the wire and wrapping it, and actually just getting used to some of those tighter knots. So what I'm going to do, I've got lots of different bead options for you today, and I'm going to take you through them in a minute, because I am going to be using what I would class as a more expensive bead. So it's not quite from our big bead bundles where you're getting hundreds and thousands of them for like £20. These are really special. Now this one is actually using aquamarine. So we are talking super fancy. But with our aquamarine, now these are faceted rice beads. So can you see they've got the most beautiful facet to them. This was one strand. This was a 16-inch strand. I've got a small bracelet out of it that will fit me. So it's probably about 16-ish centimetres. I normally wear about a 7.5-inch bracelet, so I've got teeny tiny wrists. In fact, a little bit less than 7.5. And I've still got all of these beads left from my aquamarine. So these are actually normally £17. Today they are down to £14.50. Okay, so we do also have a nice little little offer on these as well today. So that's your aquamarine, which is absolutely beautiful. I'm going to make Kitty one of these because apparently she has a bit of a thing for aquamarine. So she's given me her measurements. I think we might even use those ones today. Okay, the other ones that I've used are our amethyst. This is a light amethyst. They're a rough cut rondelle in 7mm. Again, it's a 16-inch strand. Now these ones are a bit more. They're normally £24 down to £20.50. But as you can see, because they are smaller, you get so many on your strand with your faceted rice in your aquamarine. Obviously, they are a bigger bead, they're 10mm. These ones are 7mm, so you're going to get lots of them. So for me, I would get another 2, if not 3 bangles out of here, so 4 in all. And if you're going to work with a slightly larger size, then you would be getting at least 2 out of this as well, because they are 16-inch strands. And I've paired that with the rose gold wire. So I've put my silver with the aquamarine, my beautiful soft pink, it's a rose copper, it's a rose gold. And then the other one that I've used, I do have 2 other strands actually that I wanted to show you. Now these ones are blue sodalite. They're a rough cut rondelle, so just like the amethyst, again in a 7mm. Now these ones are from £18 down to 15.50 actually I should say. And again, they are beautiful. That you could either pair with your gold, which would look absolutely stunning. You could even do it with the rose gold, and that would look lovely too. Or of course the silver. So a lot of these are going to lend into any of your colour palettes. And then the last one is tourmaline. So again, a rough cut rondelle, 7mm. So it's going to look the same as your amethyst when we're wrapping around them. It gives you a beautiful size. These ones are normally £20 down to 17. So again, it's that rough cut, and look at the colours that you're getting in here. They're absolutely stunning. So if your budget isn't going to stretch to a semi-precious bead, and you are looking for a little bit of, Jittle says these stones are stunning. I know, aren't they just beautiful? Remember to like the video and share onto your timeline and save the video for future reference. Yes, thank you, Leanne. That's a great idea. If you share the video, it will pop onto your own personal timeline. So once you've ordered your beads and your wire, or you find your stash from in your cupboards, you'll be able to find it really easily. Now, these are pretty special. These are a rondelle, but they are crystal rondelles, but they are etched with a pattern. Now, we've got these on offer today. These are 4 strands for £9.99. So if you know that you're not quite confident enough, or your budget perhaps won't stretch to your semi-precious, then check out these guys. Now, let me see if I can pick this up on the camera. Can you see they've got an etched star on them? So it's a really beautiful detail, slightly different, gorgeous workmanship in these. And I've used it with the gold. So these ones actually have hearts on them. I'm going to show you that one in a minute. So 4 strands, normally 14, down to £9.99. They are 6x8 rondelles. You're going to get all of those, or we've got the hearts. And I've only got 3 on here because I've already used one. So I made my bangle. This was actually the measurements that Kitty gave. Oh, sorry, camera wobble. These were the measurements that Kitty gave me. So this is a 20cm bracelet for her. And I still have these out of my strand. So you could use that maybe just to make a little feature for a necklace. You could make matching earrings, or you could make a smaller size bracelet as well. And these ones have hearts on them. Let me turn it around so you can see. So you've got, look at that, isn't it beautiful? They're so adorable. So hopefully we've got something for everybody's budget today. Okay, so these are your faceted, and I'm going to go back to my super duper beautiful semi-precious beads. Which ones shall we use? I don't know whether to do, let's think. I'm going to do the aquamarine because they are larger beads. So it's not going to take me as long to make, and then I don't have to bore you for too long today. Okay, so a few other things I'm going to need. I'm going to need my ruler. I'm going to need my wire. So I'm going to do this in silver for Kitty. So I'm going to use a 1mm wire to create my clasp. And then I'm going to use a 0.8 to actually make the wrapping of the bangle. Okay, So let me just cut this down, and these are leftovers from my bangle that I've already made. So let's take these off. Probably won't even need all of them. So I could probably make a nice matching pair of earrings as well. Oh, lots of you were asking for lots of different beads. I'm going to go with the aquamarine just so that it doesn't take me as long to do. Okay, so I've also got a glass. This is actually a shot glass. Drink responsibly. This is a small glass so that I can mould my bangle around it afterwards. And I'm also going to need my cutters, my round nose pliers, and also my flat nose pliers as well. Okay, right, let's get going. First of all, I'm going to create the bangle itself. So I'm going to use my 0.8mm wire. And just take the measurements of your wrists. You can wrap a little bit of string around it. You could then measure that. You can use a fabric tape measure, whatever you like. So I'm going to measure up. So Kitty wears a 20cm bracelet. So I've done 15 there. That's my 20. And I'm going to add a little bit more because I need to be able to wrap a loop at the end of it. Okay, so I've probably got probably about 23 centimetres. And I'm just going to bend that here because I then want to take up on the other side a much longer strand, and I'm probably going to need about 30 to 35 centimetres for this bit. So that's my 15, that's 30. Let's go to there. And this is the section that I'm going to wrap with. Now I'm going to lift you up a little bit just because I need some more space for my wire wrapping, and I want you to be able to see the whole thing starting to come together. Okay, so here's my wire. I've got one long strand, and that's what we're going to wrap around with. Oh, Sandy says, I've just received a toolkit on Friday. They're beautiful. Sandy, thank you so much. I'm really glad you like them. I personally have loved working with them, and I think all the extra little bits and pieces that you get in the toolkit are so handy as well. Okay, so on this side, I've got my measurement for my bracelet. This is going to be my wrapping wire, and I've bent it over ever so slightly just to mark whilst I was measuring, okay? Then I'm just going to take this and I'm going to, just using my hands, can you see how easy it is to mould with? You don't have to be scared. I'm just going to create a little loop up at the top. So I'm just pinching it together very slightly, and I'm letting the wire do the work itself. If you put too much force on your wire, it's going to kink. So just let it do its own thing. So I'm actually just allowing it to mould itself. This is going to be the loop that my clasp will fit into. So if I show you the end of my bracelet, this is the clasp that we will make in a minute, and this is the loop at the end. If you struggle to put bracelets on yourself, make yourself a much larger loop, okay? And that will be easier. I'll then show you how you can reflect the size of the clasp on the other side so it doesn't come undone, but this is going to be the loop for our clasp. Then I'm going to take the wire that I am wrapping with to actually secure this into place. So this length here is my main band of the bracelet. That's the 20 centimetres that we measured. I'm going to take my flat nose pliers and I'm just going to straighten up. So can you see I've just given that a nice little nudge to straighten it up, and now that's directly in line with my loop. And then I'm going to hold on to that loop, and so that my wire is at 90 degrees, I'm just going to lift that up, okay? So this is my wrapping. This is my bracelet. And then I'm going to take the longer wire and I'm just going to wrap it around. Now a 0.8mm is soft enough to work with easily, and you probably won't need your pliers, but strong enough that it's going to hold into shape. So can you see I'm holding the loop in my fingers so that doesn't move. I'm encouraging the wire around the main frame, and I'm pulling it nice and tightly whilst twisting. Can you see how that's given me two really lovely loops? Okay, no gaps. If you do have any gaps, just take your pliers and you can pinch those together just to close that up. So that's now going to be the loop of my bracelet, and this is going to be the side that I'm going to wrap on. So now I'm going to start adding my beads. So I'm going to add on one of my aquamarine, these are my faceted rice. So beautiful. And that's onto my 20 centimetre length of my wire. Then I'm going to take, this wire is copper. It's a colour protect wire, so the colour will not tarnish or fade, so it won't rub off. A lot of the time you can get wires that are coloured, and over time it will sort of chip off. Sorry, these are colour remain, so it's a beautiful quality. And it's not going to tarnish either. Obviously, just make sure that you take it off when you wash your hands and give it a good old clean. We'll go through a bit of maintenance as we go. So I've got my first bead on, and now I'm going to wrap around. Vertical wrapping, horizontal bracelet. That's it, Leanne, you've got it. So I'm then going to take my wire, I'm going to mould it around my bead, and I'm going to take this wrapping wire over the top of my bracelet. So can you see that's going to give me a nice hug around the bead? You can push it in so that there aren't any gaps. If you want a little bit of a rougher look, then you could even leave a gap. It's up to you. And then I'm holding that in place. So I am squeezing that wire onto the bead, and I'm going to do the same thing again. So I'm encouraging with the side of my finger, my wire to stay as close to the bead as it will go. And then I'm bringing that up and around and pulling it in nice and tight. And that's going to secure my first bead into place. And then I'm just going to straighten that out a little bit. Now, you don't have to hold on to wire for dear life. So many times when I've taught workshops, people end up with these bits of wire that are kinked to high heaven because they've been holding on to it so tightly. Only concentrate on holding tightly the section that you're working on, and that's going to keep, can you see I haven't got any kinks along this bit that I've been holding? That's going to keep it nice and straight for you. So make sure that your vertical wire is directly up. That's going to give you no gap in between your two beads. OMG, Sarah wrote it. I need that book. Oh, is this my chainmail booklet? Yeah, so we were doing chainmail a little while ago. We'll pop a little link up for you at some point. But yeah, it's on the Totally Beads website. Just look up chainmail. I do have some more chainmail coming over the next couple of weeks. So wrapping over that bead, again, encouraging with my thumb, just keeping that nice and low, twisting it around. So I'm holding the wire in my right hand and I'm also twisting with my left. And now I'm going to start to get that lovely snake pattern, that lovely winding wire all the way along. I'm going to push these down. And then again, if you've got any gaps or you haven't quite sealed it tight enough, you can use your pliers just to encourage that to come down. Okay, so has anyone seen how easy it is yet? Has anybody actually inspired to give it a go and not as scared of wire as perhaps you were when you first saw this at the start of the video? It's super, super simple, but very effective. And you don't need to be experienced in wire to be able to do it. So I'm just going to push that in a little bit more. And what you'll notice, obviously, so that I'm getting this lovely wave, can we use this technique with smooth gemstones? Yes, of course you can. You can use this with any beads, absolutely any. And I think that's why I really wanted to show you it as well, because I'm hoping it will get you used to working with wire. And with something like this, it is a very simple technique. It's a very simple finish. And therefore, the more impressive the bead you use, the better it's going to look. Okay, can you see? It's so simple. Now, I'm luring you in with a simple bit because in a minute we're going to make our own clasp, which is so fun. And you can use, we're going to use a 1mm wire. So I'm using the 0.8 to do this just because it's that little bit softer. And I'm going to get that lovely curvature on it throughout the bracelet. So can you see each time that I'm finishing my wire, ready to start wrapping the next one, I'm on the opposite side to obviously the side that I have just wrapped. You make it look so easy and I'm thinking I can do this. Oh, amazing. Oh, I'm so pleased. And I promise you can. It's going to take a little bit of practice, but look, at the end of the day, the wire is inexpensive. Now, we've got it on the website. You get 2 meters for £2.50 of your 0.8. And then in your thicker, you get 1.8 millimeters in your 1mm. So for £2.50, so I'm probably using about, just under £1's worth of wire here. If you go wrong, it really doesn't matter. It's not a huge expense. Your beads can be removed. So if you are stretching that budget to your semi-precious beads, then of course you can reuse them. Nothing is permanent with this. If you want to just cut your wire, start again, then you can. just remember that your longer length of wire for your wrapping needs to be at least 1.5 times, if not 2, of the finished length of your bracelet, because of course we're using so much of it to start weaving around. Nothing more annoying than running out of wire halfway through the project, but even that isn't a game stopper. I will show you. I got quite tired last night while I was making one of them, and I did run out of wire, so I actually just added a new one halfway through my bracelet. So I'm just going to push these down. I can see a little gap in between them, which I'm not really a fan of. So I'm just going to push those down. Can you see that we're getting this beautiful finish? I thought you said you were using 1mm wire for the base, but you said it was 0.8. 0.8 for the base and 1mm for the clasp. So I've got both of them. 1mm for the clasp is just going to be that little bit stronger, and 0.8 for, so the base and the wrapping is all the same thing. This is all one length of wire. And then we're going to use our 1mm for our finishing clasp. So obviously to make your own clasp is going to be fantastic for so many different makes as well. So even if you are just creating a simple strung necklace or bracelet, if you oh, wrong one. If you stay till the end of the video, I'm going to make my own clasp, and then you could make that for so many different things. I only use 6 to 7 centimetres to make the clasp. You get 1.5 meters on your 1mm spool. So you'll be able to make lots and lots in there. Now, make sure you don't get too carried away. Keep checking the size of your bracelet as you go. But you can see it's a nice pattern repeat, and the more you do it, the better you are going to get at it as well. Every now and again, I just like to double check, and I'm just twisting these so that it's all sitting nice and straight. So very often they can twist a little bit. I want to make sure that I've got it all facing one way. Charlotte says hello from Hawaii. Aloha. Good morning. I absolutely love hearing where everybody is watching us from. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. Lucy says, this is on my to try list. Looks really pretty. Yeah, it's a great way to get used to wire. It's a very simple design. As the months go on and we continue these videos, we'll get into more intricate wire wrapping. It's great to start off somewhere easy. Did anybody make the rings from a couple of weeks ago? I was using softer wire for that. We were using 0.4, possibly even 0.5 if I remember rightly, to actually make some wire wrapped rings. I should have had one here for you, but it's actually in my handbag because I've got those on telly this week. So they will be on the Create and Craft show on Wednesday. Okay, I'm just going to do a quick size check. So I've got my 15 centimetres to here. Lovely. Okay, so Kitty wears a 20 centimetre bracelet. So I'm going to, let's add one more on, because you don't want these to be too tight, because it will move as you put it on and off. And this is where we're going to finish. Now, I've got 2 wraps at the start of my bracelet, so I'm going to give this one 2 wraps as well for the end. Okay, so that's going to finish us off really nice and neatly, 2 wraps here. And then again, just like I did a moment ago, I'm just going to check that they are all facing the right direction, that I've got all of those beads in really nicely. Super. Okay, now for finishing off at the very top. So can you see how like the wire's a little bit kinky? If you get that as you go along, just use your pliers and you can straighten that up just by pinching it together. Don't pinch hard, you don't want to mark the wire. A lot of the time I have seen people even wrap their pliers with sellotape so that it will prevent it from marking. If you have nylon coated pliers, which are specifically for wire work, then that of course is going to be the right tool for the job. But if you haven't yet got into wire work and got all the right tools, that would do the job nicely too. Okay, look, he looks a bit like a posh caterpillar, doesn't he? Okay, so these little antennas we've got up at the top, we are going to make these into loops so that we can attach our clasp on. So I'm going to straighten this up and make sure that they are both facing in the same direction, and you just want them off at a little V up at the top. I'm going to cut enough to leave. Now we normally leave 1 centimetre for one loop. I'm going to double this over. I did the rings this looks easier and less fiddly. Yeah, this is a larger wire, so it could indeed be easier for you to work with as well. With the smaller wire, there's lots of wrapping to be done, isn't there? So it does take a little bit of time, and this is actually a quicker make than making the rings. And you could even make rings in exactly the same technique with this as well. I'm going to leave double, so 2 centimetres, even a tiny bit more, to create my loops up at the top here, okay? And I'm just going to take my pliers horizontally across just so that I get the right size on each one. And look at that, that wasn't bad measuring. That's the only wastage that I've got. So that was from my 20 centimetres and about 30 centimetres on the other side to create the wrapping. So my measurements were pretty good. Now we're going to create our loops. Now I'm going to mould this bracelet so it's going to curve inwards. So I want my loops to go away from me. You could go towards you. It's entirely up to you, however you prefer moulding your wire. And then I'm going to take my round nose pliers, making sure there's no wire sticking out at the top, so I've got a nice flush finish. I'm going to mould this around and I'm going to allow it to overlap, like so that I've got a double coil. You see how neat that looks from the other side as well? And if you have any gaps, again, just bring in those flat nose pliers. I'm going to squeeze it together ever so slightly, just so that it tucks in that little tail. And can you see that my end of my wire is right in here? So I'm not going to have any rough finish on that either. Which way did we go? Okay, so I've turned it over just so that I don't now cross over my work and I'm using the other side. I'm going to flip this over, so I'm always working on my right. And this one, I'm now going to mould towards me so that it's going in the same direction as this one. Okay, so you can adapt it depending on what you need. And again, I'm just going to allow this to coil all the way down, and it will give me a loop on the other side as well. You can see I've got that little bit of a sharper tail sticking out there. I'm just going to pinch this together so that they line up. That's pretty much hidden that away. I can use my flush cutters just because I don't want that to be uncomfortable on the skin. I'm going to take away the smallest, and I'm talking millimetres, away from the end there. In nice and tightly. There we go. And then you can neaten that up. I'm just going to open that up ever so slightly because it's closed down that loop a bit too much for me. Stick my pliers back in there and make that a nice little loop. Okay, we're looking good. So this is going to be where I'm going to attach my clasp on. Now I'm going to mould it at this stage, so I'm going to take my small glass. You could use anything that has that sort of cylindrical finish. You could use, well, absolutely anything. I just found a really small glass. Obviously, it is not the size of a bracelet. It's a really small shot glass, actually. Make sure that your loops are facing inwards. I'm going to put this on here. You want something that is smaller than your bracelet, and you'll see why. If you mould it to your bracelet size, you're not going to get that perfect curve on it. So I'm also encouraging my loop down there. When I remove that, can you see I've got the perfect size? Let's bring that one in a little bit as well. Perfect loop. So even though it's a smaller glass, it will spring out and open. Can you tell me what gauge wire you're using? Wire I would need to be a necklace that drapes nicely, as most wire is very rigid. Yeah, so you don't want a gauge wire to make something that drops. You want a tiger tail wire. So tiger tail wire is a nylon coated wire. So it's several tiny individual strands woven together. So it's got kind of the fluidity of thread-ish, a little bit stronger. In fact, hold on, I've got a spool here. This is your tiger tail wire, and we've got lots of it on the website. Just go and have a little look. Tiger tail wire, that is what you would need to give you more of a hanging necklace. Gauged wire is too strong, too rigid, like you said. Okay, here comes the fun bit. Now we're going to make our clasp. So, Kitty's bracelet is looking absolutely beautiful. Hope you're loving it, Kitty. Could you do a big version of the ring, i.e. wrap the wire around the bottom feature section and front for more of your gemstones? Yes, absolutely, of course you could. Oh, good morning, Grace from Malta. Hi, Wendy from Cambridgeshire. Lovely. Oh, I've got lots of you from lots of different places. Where have we had? Massachusetts, Hawaii, Cambridgeshire, Western, Clacton. So I've got lots of you. Thank you so much. Now, I'm going to use 6 to 7 centimetres for my clasp. And this is now my 1mm gauged wire, 1mm thickness. So this is going to give me a little bit more. You can hear that it's a lot thicker. It's not noticeably that different, 0.8 and 1 mil. But when you start working with it, you will notice that it is quite a lot thicker. It's stronger, and that's exactly what we want for a clasp. Because I used the softer wire down here at the bottom, that's why we doubled it over, made ourselves those little double loops so that they don't come undone. Just going to tuck that end in there. He's annoying me. Okay, so our clasp. I'm going to take my wire in the middle and I'm just going to encourage it to bend straight over. And as you can see, if I was to try and form this, it would be really hard, but the wire will do it perfectly itself. I'm going to bring this in so that I'm creating just like a little paperclip loop. From Worthing in Sussex. Hello, Sue. Leslie from Scotland. Hi. Lindsay in Ware in Hertfordshire. Lovely. Oh, I love it. I love hearing where you're all from. It's so funny to think that we're all just sat in our house watching the same thing, isn't it? All thinking about making wire bangles all day. I should really give my house a good clean today. No, Lucy, that's so boring. But all I want to do is sit in my room and play with my beads. Absolutely. My house is a bomb site. Because that's exactly all I have been doing, is playing with my beads. Who needs to do housework, eh? Okay, so I'm going to take my flat nose pliers and I'm going to pinch together. So I'm holding it flat in my hand and I'm going to pinch together. Now I'm using my flat nose as opposed to chain nose because I just like it having that wider tooth, which will allow me to sit the wire right in the middle of my plier, and it's actually moving because it's not straight on. So I'm just going to pinch this together. That's better. Pinch it together to give me that really lovely finish up at the top here. Okay. I'm not too worried about these not being straight at the moment. I'm going to bend those out ever so slightly. And then I'm just going to run my pliers down the middle here just to straighten up a couple of those kinks from where I was just holding it. Okay. So can you see I've got that lovely little loop now? Dorothy says, all I've done is empty the dishwasher and that's good enough for today. Oh, Dorothy, I agree. I loaded it last night. That's good enough for this weekend. It's all done. I was actually going to cook a roast dinner today. John's been away for 2 weeks working, so I wanted to do a really nice little home-cooked meal. So we're going to take the dogs to the beach after this, one of our favourite Norfolk beaches for dog walks. We're going to Holcombe, which is absolutely beautiful. And it's now only kind of about 50 minutes from the door. So it's really lovely. It used to be about 2.5 hours for us. So it was a rare treat that we got to go. And now that it's only down the road, we're going to go and do that and then come home for a nice roast dinner, which would be lovely. Okay, so I'm going to take my round nose pliers and I'm now just going to take the very edge of this and I'm just going to create a lovely little loop up at the top. Now with my round nose pliers, they're tapered. So what I tend to do is rotate my work around and I'll just do it on both sides. Because you want to make sure that your wire up at the top here, and if you look at it side on, is flat and level. Because your round nose pliers are tapered, then you might find that it goes slightly wonky. So I just like to do a tiny little bit on one side and then round on the next. Okay, and this is going to give me this lovely little loop. Hi from France. Lovely clear instructions. Glynis, thank you so much. I will have to finish off the woven bracelets. Oh, I think some of you are all chatting away as well now. Hi from windy but sunny Hinckley in Leicestershire. Oh, hope you're doing okay. I have lots. Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. So got, lots of you chatting away to each other, which is lovely. And if there are any questions, just ask away. I will try and do them as I go. Okay. So this is going to be the little outside lip of my clasp. I now want to make sure that I mould it up and around. So I'm going to take my round nose pliers and this time I'm going to go deeper. So this has given me a lovely neat little lip, which I was using at the very tip. If I now take my pliers further down, I'm going to mould it around the larger part. Oh, sorry, the larger part of my pliers. all the way down. And can you see now, look, I've made my clasp already. Super, super simple. Just those 2 little twists around your your round nose pliers is going to give you a beautiful finish of a clasp. Now, I then like to just give myself a tiny little bit more of an angle. So I'm just going to bring my round nose pliers in the base and bring that back ever so slightly as well. Now, this is all quite open. I want to close this up. So I'm going to take my flat nose pliers, pop that into the middle. I'm going to squeeze this one down ever so slightly more, whilst trying not to move all of the wire. Keep that nice and tight. So can you see where I've squished it? Slightly moved out of line. So I'm just going to take my pliers, open it up. And there is no right or wrong really with your wire, okay? It can all be manoeuvred and pinched into place. Just make sure you're not overworking it. So you don't want to open and close all the time. I'm just going to make sure that this is going to fit. So it's too big at the moment. So I'm going to take my flat nose pliers, pinch this in nice and small. I actually made a very small loop on my bangle, but I think we can get around it. I'm going to pinch this in really nice and tiny. So that we get that in. Okay, I'm going to open this one up. So I'm going to take my round nose pliers and I'm just going to give myself a bit more of a base up at the top. So I'm going to push my pliers all the way down to the bottom. So I'm going to make it a bit more like an oval rather than a circle, so that I can give myself a little bit of a flatter base up at the top here. Yeah, there we go. And then that is going to add, that's going to house my clasp beautifully. Okay, so in and along. So a lot of the time you'll find that giving it a bit more of an oval finish will help, so that it's a little bit flatter up at the top. If you have, do I have my other flat nose pliers here? No, never mind. If I use these ones, I'm just going to take it in on the edge there, make that a little bit flatter, and that will then open it up to be able to put that clasp in there beautifully. Okay, so now we want to attach our clasp to the end of the bracelet, our double loops. So I'm going to open this up ever so slightly. I'm going to take my flat nose pliers in, and when you're making your clasp, it's just small little movements, small little tweaks in angles and sizes and tightness. Can you see it was quite large to begin with, and we've now got it down to this beautiful little delicate clasp. So just little tweaks, little movements, and not too tight on those pliers so you don't mark any of your wire, and just make sure that it's all level. Okay, so I've opened up this V because I want the V to be in exactly the right place for both of these, and we're going to loop down into the wire. Now, what I found was the easiest way to do this, rather than creating a whole loop, I'm going to start off my loops like so. Whoop. Start off my loops and link them in. And again, just those little tweaks are going to make a big difference. So I'm lining it up and making sure that it's in the right angle. And I just need this one to come in slightly. So where it's coming out a little bit to the side, I'm going to tweak that in. Okay, so I've got one in. We'll do this one first. And I'm just going to loop this one around. Actually, I'm going to do the shorter one first because that's going to be the trickier one. So I'm going to bring back this wire to 90 degrees-ish and then start creating my loop. So I want it to be reasonably large because I want it to go into here and still have movement, because this is the mechanism that your clasp will be sitting on. So you want your clasp to be able to rise up, obviously to be put on, and then link down to be able to close it. So I'm just going to finish off that little loop. So I've linked it in, bringing it round, and if you can't quite get in there with your pliers, if I turn this around, can you see that I've got that linked all the way through? just keep on bringing it through, taking those round nose pliers just to close it off. And this is the trickiest part of your bracelet, but it's worth taking your time over. And then if you can't quite get it shut with your round nose pliers, take your flat nosed and just pinch that in. Okay, so that's one side. And now we're going to do our other side. We'll encourage this loop all the way through. Bringing that in, flipping it round, all the way through that little loop. Like so. Grabbing that tail that you've got left over with your pliers. And just finishing off that loop. Okay, and where I've held on to that, I've slightly tweaked the angle of my clasp, so I'm just going to neaten that up. And because we're using the 1mm, it's a beautiful thickness. Morning, Sarah. We'll have to watch on catch up. My husband hoovered all the way through your tutorial. Well, Philomena, I think he's a keeper. Just the fact he's hoovered is good enough for me. Now, you will be able to catch up with the video afterwards as well. If you share the video, it will pop onto your own homepage. But of course, once I've finished, it will be uploaded onto the Totally Beads Facebook page. So you'll be able to catch that up at absolutely any time, whether you've got people doing housework around you or not. Okay, so I'm just going to straighten this up, neaten that down. And there I've got my lovely clasp up at the top that can maneuver up and down so that you can put it on. Need to bring it down ever so slightly just for a neater finish. And like I said, just those little tweaks are going to give you a lovely finish. And then linking it straight into your bracelet. So straight in, and there you've got your gorgeous aquamarine bracelet. Could you join class with small jump rings to make it easier? Yes, you can. Yeah, absolutely. The jump rings that I had, the really fine ones, just weren't strong enough. But yeah, absolutely. Loop the top, loop the base, and link them on with a jump ring. And then you will get a little bit more movement in there as well. So that would be nice and simple for you to put on, which will also give you a really lovely finish. And then you've got your bracelet. So guys, I hope you enjoyed it. It's really nice and simple to do. Your trickiest bit is your clasp, but like I said, you can then make these for so many different of your so many other projects, your beading makes. You can try different sizes, different shapes, so many different things that you can do with them. The wire is beautiful in the rose gold. And so many different wraps that you can do around them to make it more intricate. The different bead shapes are going to give you a different finish. And remember, if your budget can't stretch to a semi-precious bead today, then you obviously have your faceted ones in there as well. To be honest, you could do it with any beads and you will get just as nice a finish. Guys, I hope you really enjoyed it. I am going to run through what we're doing for the next few days as well. Kitty couldn't remember on her video yesterday because we've had, so we were together, was it only last week or week before? Yeah. And we put together an entire month's worth of projects, let alone TV shows. Don't forget, I'm going to be on Create and Craft TV this Wednesday at 9 o'clock for Totally Beads. So what day is today? Sunday. Wire wrapped bangles. It's exactly what I did. Tomorrow is going to be Kitty, because I'm on telly for the next 3 days actually. So Kitty is going to be doing the videos. So Kitty on Monday and Tuesday, and on Wednesday because I'll be on telly for Totally Beads, and on Thursday, and then on Friday I am going to be back and I'm going to be using the most beautiful ceramic beads. Now, if you love a natural finish, they being ceramic, they are quite heavy in weight, but they're so cooling to touch. I love mixing sort of shiny things with rough and raw edges. I do it a lot in my home decor, so I use like a lot of natural raw wood, but you'll put something crystally and blingy with it as well. What I'm going to do on Friday is a necklace using ratel cord. So we're going to do some nice knots and sliding clasps, and then using our ceramic beads as well. And then on the Saturday, I'm going to be using some beautiful large oval crystals, again with ratel. So if you get your ratel bundles when we're doing those, I'm going to have multiple projects on them. And then on the Sunday, I'm going to be showing you beaded cages. So a little bit more wire. We're going to learn how to house those beads and make a beautiful wire wrapped cage to put your beads in. Alicia says, Sarah, as usual, I can't wait to try this. I love working with wire. Have a really nice day. I'll be at work next week, so I have to watch the recordings all week. Have a lovely day. Thank you so much. You too. Paula says, very pretty. Thanks for another lovely video today. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care all. Lovely. Thank you, Lorna. Thanks, Marcy and Natalie. Chef. Hi, Chef. Do my shopping now before I go away. Yes, Anne, good idea. Get that in. Carol says, thank you, inspired to give it all a go. Amazing. Thank you all so much. I will see you on, what day did I just say? Friday. I'll see you on telly. I'll be on telly on Wednesday, 9 o'clock. Join me for the Totally Beads Hour. I've got my new, rings are going to be on, the wire wrapped rings. I've also got my adjustable bangles. We've got the fleur pendants back in stock. We've got some herringbone necklaces. The button men are back. Button men are back in stock. So hopefully I'll see you 9 o'clock on Create and Craft on Wednesday as well. Have a wonderful week, guys. I'm off to the beach. I'm going to go let the dogs run around the sand, and then probably have to wash them when we get home. But hey, it's going to be good for my soul. I'm going to blow those cobwebs away. Enjoy your day, guys. Have a lovely weekend, and I will see you back here on Friday. Join Kitty every day at 10 o'clock. Love to you all. Take care.